Okay.
Introduce.
So I'd like to have everybody meet Tim Rastigar, our new board member. Well, we'll be sworn in an hour. And Tim, this is most of today actually is for and about you. First off, welcome. I'm glad you're here and congratulations on your appointment to the board. Most of what you are going to hear today, the rest of the board has heard throughout the year, at least as we look back, and the rest will be new. But I wanted to at least have some folks here that then they can leave, but I wanted to at least make sure they were introduced to you. So Nick, we'll start with you. Just introduce yourself and what you do, and then introduce Alan.
Yeah, Nick Shoba, Director of Operations. I worked with you with B-Launch back with BYP a while ago, so it's good to see you on the board. And then this is Alan. Alan's our new operations manager.
I'm Alan Cushing. I'm the new operations manager.
Alan just started about a month, well, the start of the month, came to us. He and his family moved here from Portland. Actually, Mount Hood. He's in charge of the Kiwanis camp on Mount Hood. And so he is brand new to the team, but already making a real positive impact.
Welcome to Boise.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You'll hear from Allie.
Yeah, hi, Allie Reporty, and in email and trying to have you. So look forward to sharing your information on Bales with you.
Hang on a second. You got the feedback fixed? Sounds like it. You'll hear from Cody as well. Cody.
Cody Lund, the Assistant Executive Director here, oversee the food and beverage operations, the events teams, and the IT department. Welcome.
Hi, yes, we've already met, but welcome again, Stacy Funk, HR Director. And I'm the Department of Two. You'll be hearing from Megan. She sends you the onboarding information, but reach out if we can help.
Great. If you guys want to stick around, you're welcome to, but otherwise you can. You will never hear from Stacy in a board meeting. She does an outstanding job, but when it comes to presentation, she would rather not.
I'm better behind the scenes, but thank you all.
So what we've done, Tim, in the past, and we were doing it quarterly, but after the last year, we're looking at doing things like this maybe a couple of times a year, strategically. At one point, Allie, pardon me, Allie and Carrie Westergaard from the CVB will do a joint presentation during a regular board meeting just as an update, normally around April-ish, when the CVB submits their proposal to the state for their grants. They're funded two ways. We fund about $850,000 to the CVB under contract, and then they normally get a grant from the state. Carrie's been very, very successful. It's up to about 1.3 million grant from the state, from the Idaho Department of Commerce. So it's just good. They work great collaboratively, CVB and our sales team. So it's just good to keep the board updated on progress, how we're doing on convention, what things are going on. So you'll hear from them later in the year as a tag team during a regular board meeting. Other than that, we'll get started with Cliff and Mary Michael. Go ahead and introduce yourselves and what you're doing.
I'm Cliff Klinger, Director of Marketing. I make up marketing department.
Hello, good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Nice to see you. I'm Mary Michael Rogers, and I do communications, digital marketing, manage our website for Boise Center and the district's website, and I also oversee our digital media campaigns and work closely with Allie and her team in the CVB on our other, we work in partnership with them on a joint media campaign as well. And we're the first ones to present, so if you go right ahead.
I mean, that's the end of me. We weren't able to do our work session in December, and so this gives us a chance to take a moment to look back and reflect on our 2022 year and talk a little bit about our 23, what we're doing in 23 and some of the campaigns that we'll have coming up. A couple of the goals and successes that just are noteworthy things we wanted to highlight is that we did complete the budget for this coming year. Both Mary Michael and I completed our marketing and communications plans. And TM, you have a bound copy of what we call our marketing, sales, and communications plan. It's divided into 3 sections. It's written by myself, Mary Michael, and Allie, who really just focus on the goals of those specific areas. It's not a Bible. We've always said it's not a Bible. We say it's a roadmap, and it kind of gives us our guide through the year. We know things are going to twist and turn, and that's what makes it exciting. So it gives us some things to work on. In 22, we also received our 4th Best Convention Center recognition from Smart Meetings Magazine. We really appreciate that, and it's promoted on our website and throughout. Where we have an opportunity to promote that fact, we do take great pride in that recognition. We also took this year to promote our reaccreditation with the GBAC STAR, which is our clean and safe program. And so that's makes us and makes meeting planners comfortable knowing that we are following those protocols. In 22, at the end of 22, we closed our visitor center as the CVB or Visit Boise now opened up their visitor center and / gift shop. We decided to close our location on the Grove Plaza. And so we are now redirecting people to the Visit Boise Information Center, which is at the chamber office. So we don't have a duplication of efforts there. We are able to, and thanks to Mary Michael, redirect everyone to the correct location. And then we also completed our succession and our continuity of operations plans. I think every department did that, but it's just something we wanted to put in the plan to note that those were achieved. One of the big successes we had in our advertising efforts was we launched our new campaigns. Our Centered Around You is more of our regional and national campaign that we run in the trade publications, really focusing on the meeting planner and the experience they'll have here when they book Boise. And then our Here campaign, our Meet Here, Collaborate Here, Entertain Here, Inspire Here. We have a list of probably 20 or 30 words that things that you can do here at Boise Center. Really designed locally for a local placement to really make sure people think of Boise Center that you can do more than just meet here. From the receptions to private events, we can really do anything here to continue promoting the facility that we are. In 22, we placed 53 different ads in publications, our industry publications and key annual publications here locally. In this year, in 23, we're scaling that down a bit. To make sure that the publications are key and focused on the messages where they need to be. They tie in with editorial, but also the fact that we are bumping up our digital. So there's a little shift there because with most of our publications now, the industry side of things, they are really diving deeper into the digital world. So we want to make sure we're there, we have a presence, and people have an opportunity to click. And Mary Michael will talk about our clicks because we have success in that category as well. So that's what our marketing effort is to do, is to get eyes and ears and get people curious to want to know more about Boise and Boise Center. So digital ads will continue this year, and we're also working with Orange 142 and Visit Boise on our conventions and meetings campaign. So that will continue through 23 as well.
And Orange 142 was started during the pandemic, just for your knowledge, to really kind of drive some more local traffic, and it's evolved since then, correct?
Correct. I mean, coming during the pandemic and coming out of the pandemic, we really wanted to focus on awareness, letting people know that we were open, that we were clean, and we were safe. And we really wanted to promote the fact that meetings were happening here. And so they are an agency based out of Austin, Texas, and they do specialize in digital. And so I think both Mary Michael and Allie will touch on some of those successes with them. This is just a quick short list to highlight the different publications that we were in the fourth quarter. Noting the fact that we do try to always tie in with editorial, whether it's a feature on Idaho or the Pacific Northwest. We really do try to get that exposure and let people know what our story is. And I help with the advertising, but Mary Michael helps tell the stories. So all those editorial and bullet points come through our communications efforts. Our first quarter, we are in the same publications as these are the main publications in the industry, and really do have success with them, and we have good relationships with them. And like I say, we're exploring digital opportunities with all of these major publications as well. One of the things we do through our marketing department is coordinate the sponsorships that Boise Center is a part of. Working with the Boise Metro Chamber of Commerce, we sponsored 10 chamber events here in the facility. Some of those are sponsorships, and some of those are trade, if you will, or kind of in kind. We did participate in 5 business after hour functions, and one of those we did host here at the center, so people actually get a chance to come through our doors, and maybe if they haven't been here before, they get a chance to see us firsthand. We did host and sponsor the Visit Boise Rose Awards, which is an annual recognition of service excellence awards. And this year in 23, they'll be held at the Morrison Center. And we did host one of the VBEP stakeholder summits here at the facility. We are continuing our sponsorship with the Big Sky basketball tournament. As a community partner, we're showing our good faith and working with a number of entities to support that effort through a sponsorship. And working with the Idaho Business Press, we sponsor 6 of their events. We collaborate with them to help their events be successful here at the facility. And there on the left is just a mention of some of the events that are held here. In 23, we'll be hosting all those same functions basically and same activities. However, we do have the Outdoor Media Summit that will be taking place in September. So we have a dollar commitment assigned and budgeted for that event. One of the things through our marketing department is we get to help with some community initiatives, and we work with our Logistics Committee, which is our internal committee to help do employee activities and do community activities, those kind of things. So this year, one of our initiatives was a school supply drive, and we worked with the Idaho Housing Authority to collect school supplies. And what's unique about this is they have always catered to the junior high audience. I mean, they've always catered to the elementary schools and trying to take care of those needs for those students. However, this year we were able to work with them on a donation for junior high schools and high schools. And so it was the first year that they were able to help those students with supplies. And so we were proud of the number of things we were able to collect with our employees and their donations. So we thought that was a great initiative. Might continue that, but the Logistics Committee, as we meet, will determine those initiatives. We've done Rake at Boise, we've done all kinds of different activities in different years. This year we decorated a tree for Festival of Trees, and it was successful. It was hopefully one of the first several sold. And then working to help promote the fact that we were recognized as one of Treasure Valley's top workplaces. The Idaho Press made that recognition, and so really the initiative funneled through Mary Michael helps us promote that fact through social media, through different recognitions. It just helps us to maintain that standard of excellence that we strive for. As a marketing department, we also are a service department. We service a number of departments here and help with their projects as well. We want to make sure that the look and the standard remains, consistent throughout. So, so for human resources, for example, we helped coordinate a job fair earlier in the year. Not tremendously successful, sad to report, but I think everybody at that time was doing a job fair, trying to find employees. And so, but the attempt was made. And so I think that we have to give ourselves credit for making that attempt, because we had never done that before. We help with the Wow Factor newsletters, which is an internal newsletter to help promote information and make sure that staff is aware of different activities and functions that are coming up. We updated the sales proposal and worked with Allie on updating that with new images and new graphics. One of the things we did this year is we try to promote and create the giveaways that we take to different trade shows. And so the recipe card bundle that you have in front of you is a campaign that we did and have coordinated with the Idaho Potato Commission. And so as a trade show giveaway, our thought is to get something that people will keep, or that they'll pass along to someone who can actually use it. And so this is something that we got good feedback on, and it's 20, I think it's 20 or 25 recipe cards that just really kind of focus on that Idaho theme and Idaho potato. And it really, you know, is kind of one of those clever things that's just not the same old pan. It's not the same old, you know, hand sanitizer. So anyway, these are your samples to take home. And if you're not a cook, you can pass them on to your other family members who might delight in them. I'm not a cook. For example, for food and beverage, the sweets and treats stickers were created in order to help brand our different items at our concession stands. We created food identification cards, and then we also just recently created some floor decals. Because things are always moving, the bars are moving, the coffee stands are moving, concessions are moving based on the layout of the event. And so we created some floor stickers or decals to be able to help direct people to those to help create awareness and boost some sales. Other internal projects, we did mention the GBAC Star, the Smart Meetings Award. One of the initiatives we did was Boise Center generously paid for half of some winter coats. And so the employees paid half and Boise Center paid for half. And we created some branded winter jackets that people could wear and feel like they're part of the team and be able to look like a team when they're out shoveling snow like they were this morning. Butte and Boise is also an internal project that we take great pride in, and 2022's event was successful and was a lot of fun. We work with several advertising agencies and do various projects with them throughout the year. Drake Cooper is making some final edits on what we're calling our new sales promotional video. It's a video that we'll post online, as well as run through social media, as well as take to different presentations. While Allie and the team are on the road, they can use this to help kind of create that inspiration to see firsthand what we look like and what the valley looks like. We're working on some internal graphics with Warren Lassen, just to help. And the theme of this design for the windows at the top of the escalators will be to promote the district and promote Boise Center. So it's kind of a little bit more of awareness and education as to what the district is, what the board is, who the board is, and what some of the things we accomplish at Boise Center. Upcoming activities, we will be doing Butte and Boise again on St. Patrick's Day. So mark your calendar in green on the 17th and plan to join us. We are going to be working with our events team to produce a branding guide that we have not had before. We've had a decorator guide and a promoter guide, but this will dive just a little bit deeper to help clients answer some of their questions that they might have as they're planning preparing events here. We're also working with Orange 142. They have a site visit. They're coming here. Is that next week, I guess? I believe it's already almost the end of January. They have several new people on the Boise account. And so they're bringing them in to see firsthand what the market is, what's changed, just so they can get re-inspired for the campaigns that they're working on. And also, Mary Martha and I have been challenged, and we'll continue to challenge ourselves to do continuing education. I was able to go to the Convening Leaders Conference that is sponsored by PCMA, the Professional Convention Management Association, and it was a real great convention. And I'm looking forward to presenting some of the ideas that we saw and heard to our staff, just so they can be inspired and see kind of what's happening in other convention venues around the country. Any questions on the marketing portion? I'll turn it over to Mary Michael.
Thank you. Okay, to start out, Cliff mentioned this, and I think it's worth noting that our meetings industry editorial coverage, we work in particular with about 4 to 6 meetings industry publications that do editorial coverage of destinations, airlines, new tips and tricks in the event world. And what you see pictured in front of you on the left is Going Green, which is an article in Meetings Today magazine. All of these have an audience of people that work for associations, corporations, technology companies, government organizations that are planning meetings and events. The Going Green is sustainable venues for greener meetings in the Pacific Northwest, and Boise Center and Boise are highlighted and included along with Seattle and Portland. In the middle is a neat story that was in Smart Meetings June edition, going above and beyond. And this editor wanted to talk with a meeting, somebody that had a conference at Boise Center. So we put the person in contact with Julie Weller, who was the planner for the Northwest Lineman College. It was their company-wide 3-day conference that was held here in February of last year. And she just says the group had a fantastic experience in Boise and at Boise Center, and they're coming back again, right, Alex? So, yeah, they're coming back, and it was neat to see that. Both of these all these articles that you see here, we take this editorial, and both the CVB and Boise Center share this out on our social channels, and it helps give that third-party validation to our destination. On the far right is a regional publication, Northwest Meetings and Events, who did a story about Out of the Box catering delicacies, and this was a winter 2022 issue. We provided a quote, and then the gentleman with the flaming pan of flambéing is Idaho Huckleberry's Jubilee, and that's a Boise Center team member. That's culinarian Sam Pack. Picture there.
He was very excited today. Mary Michael brought me a hard copy of that publication, and Sam was in the kitchen, and I was able to go in and give it to him personally and shake hands. And he's a tremendous young man. He's doing a really good job for us, and he was a little embarrassed, but he was really proud of it.
We did see editorial coverage for Boise Center for us jumped 50% year over year. We were in 11 meetings industry publications, 7 interviews. And when I thought about that, reflected back, I think the change is we shifted as a nation from really being focused on the pandemic and recovery and how to meet safely during that pandemic to almost as if, okay, not that the pandemic was over, but we're really ready to gather in person again. And let's focus again on sourcing those meetings. So that would be my interpretation of meeting publications really moving away from COVID, moving away from pandemic, travel safely, meet safely, and shifting back into promoting destinations events. During the year, Cliff mentioned that we were a Smart Stars nominee for Best Conference Center. That is a reader's choice that we do a voting campaign where we ask readers to vote for us. That's run on social media. You see that on the left side of the screen. And the top right, Meetings Today named us a Best Convention Center. And then the bottom right is a social share of top workplaces by the Idaho Press. And that neat photo that you see, that's actually Boise Center staff, wait staff and bartenders wearing masquerades. After the masquerade ball, they were actually cleaning up. That's probably 1 in the morning when that photo was taken, that candid photo. So the masquerade ball has already happened, and that's a, oh, I wouldn't say it's that. The Children's Heart. Why is there?
I don't want to speak and be correct.
I can't think.
Take a look
Was
at
that Jaden DeLuca
Thank you. I
last
was
weekend?
thinking Wyatt Kim Warrior, and it was the wrong one. I knew that in my mind. Thank you for helping me out there, everybody. But we take as many opportunities as we can to help promote and Boise Center and our team members. In front of you are snapshots or screenshots of our digital campaign. This year we launched new creative, new headlines. The primary ad centered around you is our prospecting ad. This is an awareness. We want to make you aware of Boise Center and also Boise, but our tailored in-house services that sub-headline has performed very well for us. The retargeting ad is on the right. That's you have seen the prospecting ad and you've been to our website, and we're now trying to get you to seriously consider coming back to the website, fill out a form. And we know that meeting planners don't just buy a facility, they're often looking at the city and the destination, what there's to do and see. So we changed the headline to Meet Here, Explore Here. Our digital media campaigns are an important tool in our marketing toolbox. We use these and place these regionally within 350 miles of Boise and in target markets across the United States. At the end of 2021, we audited our media performance and identified areas of growth. I'm happy to tell you that those areas of growth and 2 new channels that have been implemented have really made a positive impact on our campaigns. Our top performing regional prospecting ad is a native ad on the left that you see here. It's a mobile ad. This was our first year running native and it performed very well. It proved its value as a driver of impressions with over 5.2 million impressions served at a CPM of $3.21, which is well below the CPM of other channels. And then social regional prospecting ad is on the right, and that's centered around you. And something I noticed right away, so you notice that's the same image placed 2 different ads and formats, but that's an image I wouldn't have predicted would have performed as well, but it did. It really is resonating with people that are seeing it. Another notable adjustment in 2022 was within our search campaigns. Search campaigns are what I would call the modern day phone book. And our SEM campaigns, we narrowed our keywords in hopes of capturing lower funnel audiences, people that were aware of Boise Center, they may be aware of the name, but we're really trying to move them over to send us a lead. Putting these changes in decreased our cost per click by 22%. Our search and SEM continues to be the workhorse of the media campaign. Display as a channel was the best driver of impressions in 2022, with over 7.5 million served at efficient $2.17 cost per thousand. Overall, the adjustments made to the campaigns proved to be beneficial. Cost efficiency decreased while website engagement and traffic both increased. What you see in front of you is a graph of website traffic. Specifically, traffic increased 16% year over year. Pages per session, meaning the pages that people viewed each time they came, jumped 3%. Session duration also increased 27%. If you were to ask me why this significant increase, I would say it was part of our targeting, part of our keywords, part of some audience changes and segments that we added, but also following the Delta variant in December of last year, moving into January, remember the Delta variant at the end of the year when people were postponing and canceling their Christmas party, it seemed like the floodgates really opened in about February last year, but we started to see traffic on the site, people's inquiries coming in through the website really jumping. But the bar graph down below, or the graph, shows the traffic based on our campaigns, where it really starts to ramp up in April and then tail down in December. I'm happy to answer any questions, so I'm just trying to move quickly so Allie has time. Here you see the sources of our website traffic. The number one, 20% is our paid media campaigns. Number 2 is organic search. Organic search is impacted partly by keywords that we use within the website text on the website, which improves our ad scores. Part of it is familiarity with the Boise Center name, the people scrolling below an ad and just coming directly to Boise Center to click on us. The change this year in our traffic is we're seeing a jump in our email traffic because of emails, and those are from our partner emails at Orange 142 and the Boise CVB does, that they're clicking on Boise Center's link from those monthly e-news and then the LinkedIn posts. The top pages viewed on this website are the plan page, our attend things to do, and then also the meet the team, which makes sense to me because if you have booked an event and it's a year or two in advance, when you get closer into planning that event, you're most likely looking for the event managers, or you might be looking for somebody specifically in the operations or the administration team. And then to wrap it up, I will tell you finally that the website lead forms that come, many of them are a result of our media campaigns, increased 40% year over year at 258. We booked 19 pieces of business from those event inquiries. It was a difficult year for lost business because we ceased taking short-term bookings May 1st of last year. So even though it was a robust year for receiving these leads, we turned away or lost 189 leads. So I'm happy to tell you that as of November 2022, we are again taking short-term bookings. We did not cease taking future years bookings, but the inquiries that came in with the majority were for short-term. And I'm happy to answer any questions before I turn it over to our next. I know that was a lot of information, so thank you for being in.
Thank
keep my questions for after Ally is
Okay,
done. I think
okay.
some of them might get answered.
Okay. Be delighted to help.
Thank you.
Afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board, again, welcome Tim. We're just gonna continue with the flow of information here. We've got a lot to go through, so we'll just dive right in. I'm pleased to share some of the recap from the sales side, Boise Center sales recap from 22, and also how we're looking in 2023. Cliff and Mary Michael also teased Orange 142 a few times. We'll be taking a deeper dive into the Orange 142 meetings campaign, sharing some performance on that front. So starting off with 2022 recap, we're going to look at our key performance indicators here. And what the team does at the start of every year is we set some targets for the building in terms of attendance, room nights, economic impact, and then number of conventions and local events. And this is based on what we currently see on the books, as well as, you know, historical projections and what we see adding in the year for the year. So overall, you see we performed really well to our targets in 2022, exceeding room nights, economic impact, number of conventions. We nearly met the attendance goal, and I think that's a real win considering, you know, we got off to a slow start in Q1 with the Delta variant. Local events, we were down slightly from what we had originally projected, but again, that was due to the fact that we did put a pause on taking on new events in the year for the year. So that impacted that number there. Now this is shifting a bit more focus onto the sales team. The sales team is made up of 3 sales managers, Linda Alexander, Lori Brown, and Kate Dillon, and we also have a contract administrator, Jennifer McMaster. And these are our team goals. And so you see we exceeded all of our team goals. You know, we did go in a little conservative at the start of the year, not really knowing what COVID would continue to do to our performance metrics, but obviously Boise and Boise Center has recovered completely 100%, and we really knocked all our goals out of the park. So the team was just definitely rocking and rolling all year last year. What I want to focus on our next slide here is the contracts. And so we see we ended the year confirming 78 contracts. These are convention contracts, and a convention, TM, just for your knowledge, is our internal definition is a multi-day event with room nights. So people are coming in, they're staying in the hotels and attending the event over several days. So the sales team closed 78 of those convention contracts last year. And we see kind of the value of those contracts confirmed: over 35,000 room nights, nearly 4.4 million in forecasted revenue, and almost 21 million in economic impact. And how that, just to give it a little bit of frame of reference, if we're looking at a non-COVID year, we take 2019 contracts that were confirmed. Our 22, the value of those 22 contracts were at 11% over 2019 contracts in terms of room nights, 49% over 2019 in terms of revenue associated with those contracts, and about 17% over 2019 levels in terms of economic impact. And so, you know, we draw the conclusion that we're securing more valuable events for future business. Some of those notable groups that we did confirm last year: Daughters of the Nile. This is a group that will be here in June next year. The largest room night generating event that we've secured, with over 4,000 room nights coming to Boise, and we're estimating about $170,000 in revenue for that event. Cradle Point, they're not an annual necessarily every year, although they're here quite frequently. They will be returning in 2024. They were here in 22, and I believe they were our largest revenue generating event last year. So we're estimating about $240,000 with that convention next summer. And also mentioned in the marketing and communication presentations, the Lineman College is another great annual event for us. They'll be returning coming up this March. 22, we also saw a couple record convention revenue months. So I know the board has heard that think we had two, $1 million months last year, October being one of them, and of the $1 million, conventions generated $760,000 worth of that revenue. August was another great month for conventions, and I'm pleased to say, you know, July and August had typically been a softer month for conventions, and we've really turned that around over the last couple of years. And so August was another great month for conventions, bringing in over $660,000 revenue. Some additional highlights from last year.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
the discussion about the value of a convention participant as opposed to a local meeting participant. Would you remind me of that variance?
In terms of like an economic impact and dollars generated for the community. Well, and I might have to turn to Anne Marie too on that one. I mean, with the convention attendee, they're spending their money at a hotel, they're going out to eat, they're doing some shopping. And so the dollars injected into the economy here is much greater than if you were a local attendee, you know, just taking a day off of work and going to get some education at a meeting at Boise Center. So it's, I mean, I don't have the number.
It's about $475 and it's direct and indirect induced spending. So it's about $475 a day. Again, that's direct, indirect, and induced. The actual spend is about $290, $300 direct spending, hotel room, transportation.
So
miscellaneous.
the convention goer is better for the economic impact. But the local meeting participant is better for the convention center.
Correct. Generally speaking, yes. Generally. And that's where Cody will speak a little bit to this. And we've, through the last year, you know, one of the discussions we had during the board meeting, I think it was probably July, when we talked about revenue managing our space better. And so one of the challenges that Ally and the sales team and then the events team have, and we meet every month to look 18 months out, but these discussions take place all the time about, okay, what's the best piece of business, what's the best value for the convention center? And we're putting less emphasis on economic impact, more emphasis on internal. But again, when I say it's not like going, you know, from 90% to 10%, it's balancing that 50-50 as much as we can, you know, the impact, or when we take conventions and when we book the local events. And there's a lot of dialogue that goes on, and there's push-pull sometimes. You know, we do have to take into account our hotel partners. You guys have heard this already. I mean, sometimes we want to take, we would love to take a convention, but we can't get the hotel partners to cooperate. So at the level that we need them to. So there's a whole lot of dialogue that goes into it. But yes, the short answer is for economic impact, convention goers, absolutely. And a big chunk of that is room rate. How much they're paying at the hotels. So
Local used to be around $75 a couple years ago. I don't know. I'm assuming that's kind
I
of.
think it went up. I think we're at about 90 now, but
We can,
that's a little bit of a squishy number.
thank you. Yeah, and I'm happy to dig into those numbers a little bit more and see if anything's
Well,
fluctuating.
I mean, we've got the economic impact model that we use from the CVB, and then we, which is more of a national trend, and then we continue to evaluate the BSU model that we did several years ago through the business of school or School of Economics. So again, nothing is an exact science on the number, but it's pretty close.
And the difference with those two formulas, I mean, really the BSU model, since we were active participants in how that formula was developed, we actually have the formula that we can use on the back end of our booking system. Whereas the Destinations International, that's proprietary. So we actually have to log into DI, input all of the figures into their module, and then it gives us the number. So we can't forecast based off of DI just because we don't have the formula. So that's where we use DI for actuals. It's more of industry standard versus the BSU, which is more.
We have more control over the BSU formula.
And that's the one we're using.
It's a combination of the two.
Well, as I look at our enabling statutes, it appears to me that the voters were asking for a convention. For conventions. Is that true? We
Why
didn't
can't-
sell it as an event center.
The statute says we can do all kinds of things. And if we were to take the approach of all we want to do is book conventions and we made considerations to underwrite those conventions, our economic impact would probably be 50, 60 million a year. We'd be broke and we'd all be out of a job, but we could generate 60 million in economic impact. So while your basic premise is probably accurate and true, the reality over time is, as we've talked about, the balance of including the hotel partners to the level that they're willing to participate, that's a restricting factor now. And so, again, depending on the economic model we'll look at, if all we did was take local business, we'd be making more money, but have a very relatively minimal economic impact. The reality is, I think in today's world, I think we're about as close to parity as we can get in today's market. And where we keep our hotel partners happy, we keep the community partners happy. Again, I'm surprised y'all don't get more phone calls from your constituents about they can't book business here because they're too busy.
It's also with scheduling, because conventions are typically a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are the dates that they go after typically for travel purposes. And then you've got, the weekends, which are more games and things like that too. So.
And that's, we do try to kind of, massage that pattern, even to get like a Sunday, Monday peak, just to leave that Thursday, Friday, Saturday open for the local events or hire, a banquet. And that kind of pattern is certainly more attractive to a hotel. So then we get higher participation on the room block side from hotels if they have their attendees arriving, like say on a Sunday or a Monday, which is typically a softer day for hotels.
It's ironic, and I want to recognize Jody's comment. That was part of a comment that Mike and I had in Meridian this morning with their chamber of folks who are wanting to build a facility, create an auditorium district, and that exact topic came up about what are people voting for today, and then over time, how does the business model morph given market conditions, just changing attitudes over time and that sort of thing. So it's ironic that you bring it up because it came up this morning.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
So just taking a look at a few other highlights from 22, with the district support, we did enhance our trade show booth. And you see the picture here is our 2020 20 by 20 footprint that we debuted at ASAE, which is an annual trade show that we attend with the CBB. So this was really well received. We got a lot of traffic from that show, and it's also, we can adjust it to a 10 by 20 footprint as well. So we'll get a lot of mileage out of that equipment. We hosted 3 in-market events last year. The Customer Advisory Board and Helms Briscoe FAM were both in the spring. Those were new events for Boise. And then Connect Pacific Northwest, again, another new event for us. This was an industry conference that we would typically travel to. A lot of times it's held in like Seattle or Portland, and so we're really pleased to bring that here. Overall, we had about 50 planners come through Boise as a result of those 3 events. And, we're seeing leads come through from those events as well. One of the ones I'm really excited about is a Freeman Leadership Conference. Freeman is really like a leading industry general contractor. So they host events, they work with clients who host events all around the world. They'll help set up their booths, any equipment associated with their event. So their leadership and sales executives are planning to be here in August. We have a Freeman executive on our customer advisory board who really has helped us kind of champion this campus concept. Boise, in terms of our especially Pacific Northwest neighbors. We're a smaller destination, certainly a smaller building. And so he's been an advocate for helping us kind of come up with this campus concept where a convention can use the convention center, Jump, Egyptian Theater, the arena, and they're doing just that with this Freeman Leadership Conference coming through in August. So we should, we're really excited to showcase the building and destination in that way.
Is that Ken?
Yes.
You
Ken
might know
Holsinger.
Ken Holsinger.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's been a really great member of the Customer Advisory Board, and that's something that we work really closely with the CDB on. Finally, I've been involved with International Association of Venue Managers. This is actually a number of us at Boise Center are members of that organization. And again, this has been with Pat's support. I've been really pleased with my participation with the group. I've been on a committee for a few years now. For the last couple of years, I've served as their vice chair. And in that role, we've launched a convention center sales professional track at their annual conference. That particular group, the sales people have been kind of underrepresented, I would say, at those events. And so we were able to attract about 30 convention center sales professionals to their conference in Phoenix this past year. And we'll be doing another convention center sales track at the conference in Pittsburgh, where I'll take over as chair of the committee for the next couple of years. Thank you. And then this is just kind of a recap in pictures. We've got their customer advisory board on the blue turf doing a photo op. We hosted a holiday event with some Helms Briscoe. This is a third-party planner company. This in DC just a month ago. Again, our 20 by 20 booth on that bottom right-hand corner, and then top right was the Connect Pacific Northwest conference that we hosted here at the building. So shifting gears to 2023, lots of numbers here to look at. Basically, 2023, we're in really good shape. When we compare 23 to where we were same period last year, we're up in the number of definite events, 7% year on year, room nights up 28% year on year, excuse me, and economic impact up 18% year on year. We do see that Q2, we're somewhat flat, if not just slightly down to 2022. And I know Mary Michael referenced it's kind of when the floodgates opened and we were really just running around like crazy. The building was last spring, which is when we put a pause on adding new events to the book. So we're slightly flat year on year for the spring. Part of that is due to, we hosted a large convention last year that brought through 3,400 attendees. This was a Department of Defense event that is scheduled around deployment. Not slated for this spring. And also we did lose 2 conventions. This happened over the last several months. Collectively that translated to 3,600 attendees and almost 1,200 room nights. And that one was due to just they weren't seeing the registrations come through for their event. This was a corporate account. And then the other one was a Department of State account that had some change in their leadership and just didn't have the capacity from the staffing side to pull their conference through. So a couple of big losses for the spring, but also left some opportunities to fill in where the rest of the calendar is quite full for the remainder of the year. You kind of see how the numbers are falling there.
So when you say losses, these are losses that customers that didn't decide to go elsewhere, those events just didn't take place.
Correct, yep, yep. So in-market events for 2023, a summer FAM. This is hosted by Visit Boise, and also that we participate in all the functions and host one of the dinners during that event. We didn't have that particular FAM, and TM a FAM is a familiarization trip.
Thank you.
So this will bring in about 15 planners this July. And we will be inviting the board to that dinner that's hosted up at Boise Center on the second evening of that event. The Customer Advisory Board will be returning in the fall. We did just host them on a virtual meeting in December. We have currently 8 members and are planning to bring on a couple more CAB members this fall as we start to roll on new members and roll off old ones. The plan is to continue this for the years ahead. It's so far has been really successful and we've really enjoyed the engagement of those members. The group is made up of local and national association, corporate and third-party meeting planners. And again, Outdoor Media Summit, which Cliff had mentioned, this is a group of about 150 to 200 people representing media and brands, really notable, recognizable ones. Men's and Women's Health have typically attended this event in the past. We've got Vellum News, Women's Running, Wired, just to name a couple of the publications that have typically attended, Facebook, and then brands that really align with kind of our destination, such as Patagonia, REI, Keen. And so our Boise Center's role is hosting their opening reception. Visit Boise is also a huge sponsor of the event, as is Idaho Tourism and SWITA. So it's going to be a collective effort to really capitalize on the exposure that we'll get from that event. Again, this is just some industry trends that we're seeing in 2023. Of course, inflation's kind of hard to escape right now. And what we're looking at here, this is pulled from just some various sources. On the inflation side, convention centers are reporting that they are, considering or have increased their facility rental or equipment and service rates just in response to rising costs. And as a result, planners are having to increase their budgets. And with that, cost containment is just going to be a huge focus of the planners that we work with. But not only that, they want to stretch their dollar and get the most return on experience for their attendees, especially where everything is so accessible now online. Getting the attendees to register and travel to your event, you really have to deliver on experience, on education and networking opportunities. And so I think Boise's positioned well. We're affordable compared to some of our industry counterparts, especially when we're looking at IT, audiovisual, and food and beverage costs. I mean, a gallon of coffee being $38 here could be triple that in a major city. I see Kristen, yes, just nodding. So we're just going to continue to focus on that affordability aspect of Boise. And obviously, once we get the clients here, people fall in love with the destination and the city experience. This just takes another look at kind of where the concerns are for the clients that we work with. Of course, cost is the number one factor. Again, how it impacts their budgets. And then the number 3 spot is really shared by some other cost factors, airline pricing, travel budgets, kind of hovering in that third place. So wrapping up with some Orange 142 information, we'll be taking a little deeper dive into this campaign. Orange 142 is an agency that we've been working with now for, I guess we're going on our second year. The campaign started off as a meetings recovery campaign in the wake of COVID, and it's since kind of transformed into educating planners nationwide about Boise and our meeting facilities. This started off as being 100% funded by the District of Boise Center, and it's now backed completely by Visit Boise, and it's been a really great collaboration between the 3 organizations. The campaign is really intentional in terms of how content and information is delivered. The whole campaign is just very cohesive, and it's driven by what we call these messaging pillars, which kind of puts our themes into buckets, just making sure that we're being consistent in what we're telling our audience. We target markets, obviously, in the local and regional area, the DC Mid-Atlantic region, which is where a lot of national associations are, and the West region.
Yeah, like,
Yes.
you got 1 minute.
1 minute, okay, we'll wrap it up. And so engagement has just been huge with this one. 2022 results here. You can see over 11 million impressions. What I want to point out on this slide is the click-through rate. All tactics are performing well above benchmarks, anywhere ranging from 200% to 600% compared to benchmarks. And so we're seeing really great engagement there. The email campaign is also has always performed well. Open rate for the November email is over 60%, where the benchmark that we look for is 20%. And we had similar performance for the December email. Website traffic this is to the Visit Boise website, and this is using Google Analytics from May to December. It's kind of a goofy time frame because that's when the new Visit Boise website was launched. You can see 45% of the traffic has originated by the Orange 142 campaign, and new visitors to Visit Boise is 43% attributed to Orange 142. Top pages, again, visited in that May to December timeframe. The story I want to tell here is that the results from Orange 142 and the traffic going to Visit Boise in general are all kind of around that meetings and meeting facility type of information. So we, of course, like to see that. Obviously Visit Boise delivers a lot of great destination information as well, but we're seeing a lot of engagement with the more meeting planner focused website pages. In 2023 tactics, what I will say is, the campaign has been focused on a lot of education, introducing Boise and Boise Center and meeting facilities to the audience. And 2023, we plan to shift to focus on more call to action and lead generation resulting from the campaign. And so we'll be looking at that closely throughout the year and see what kind of new RFPs are coming in as a result of the campaign, just since we've set a really strong foundation of getting our audience familiar with our product up to this point. So wrapping that up really quickly, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Chair, if I may. I know where I go there all the time. Do you feel like you have the tools you need to win business? I look at this Underbach report, I see that we've lost some because of Boise Center costs. And as I offer it up all the time, you need help from the board to win a particular piece of business. I mean, it's not everything, but
sure, we
want to make sure that we're providing you with those tools to win the business.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. And we're unique in that the size of our building, we compete with hotels. And so hotels can offer their space, complimentary, because then they're getting all the hotel rooms. So you talk about those big convention hotels. And so it's, when we're looking at all the different factors with the convention room nights, revenue generation, economic impact, sometimes it's just worth letting it go, even if it is a Boise Center cost and facility rental reason, just because the other things don't really, they're not reason enough for us to just completely waive facility rental. We look at historically what we would do over that week, and if we can see that we typically do have other events that would book, then we feel better walking away from it. But we look at all those different angles, and certainly when we feel strongly about keeping a piece of business, we will make those concessions to win it.
I do have a wealth of questions, but I think in the interest of time and knowing that we have time set up, I believe next week or the following week,
Tuesday.
I'll take those questions offline.
Okay.
But I just want to maybe in closing, just acknowledge and congratulate Cliff, Mary Michael, and yourself, Ali, on what seems to be a very capable and effective team in terms of sales and marketing. It sounds like from the readiness point of view, the growth that you've achieved, the awards that were earned, along with the recognition of team members, and the marketing metrics. One thing that stood out to me was that paid and organic are almost equal in terms of channels, and that's pretty rare. So overall, just wanted to congratulate you all on a successful year. Lots more questions to come. I took plenty of notes.
Excellent.
And in the interest of time, let's just address these.
Absolutely.
That's okay.
Thank you.
I'm going to invite Cody back next month.
Okay, I
As
was
part of the
wondering what
regular
you wanted
meeting.
to, okay.
And allow him to take up some time during what would normally be my presentation as well. To give his update and give him the time. He's very well prepared, but again, in the interest of time, I think, Cody, sorry, but we'll have, you'll be the lone ranger.
I've gone first
next
before and just put these guys out too, so I know, I understand. So.
And I do see that you have plenty of customers out there running around. So
Yes.
the thing or two to do.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Take 5.
Yeah. So adjourn this meeting and see you in 5 minutes to start the next.
And Tim,